Hallo Klickenabendler, wir sind auf der Messe in Essen, auf der Spiel 2022. Es ist der vorletzte Tag, wir haben eigentlich demnächst schon Messeende, aber wir haben zum Glück noch einen Slot bei Horrible Games bekommen. Next to me is Alessandro, hi!
Hello everyone!
Of course, no, Horrible Games is wrong!
Yeah!
It's not Horrible Games anymore, it's Horrible Guild!
Yes!
Oh, sorry!
Yeah, don't worry about it, we still keep using the wrong name too.
But it's the same letters.
Yes! That's probably helping the confusion, I don't know.
We have two new games, three new games this year. It's one of the new games is called Evergreen. That's a German version, and the designer is Heidelberger, of course.
Yes. This is a game that is very similar to a previous game he did, which is Photosynthesis by Blue Orange. But then again, they share just a few of the core mechanisms, but then the game itself is actually pretty different.
And the whole game is made out of wood and paper, no plastic inside in any way.
Apart from these lists that we put for the demonstration, but they're not in the game, so that does not count.
I see. All right, so what's the game theme?
Yes, the game it has a nature theme, and like Photosynthesis, it has the sun that goes around the board during the game. You plant trees and you make them grow bigger and bigger during the game. The sun sends the light and they collect light to make points, but they also cast shadows. And if a tree is in the shadow, another tree, it doesn't collect light. This is all very similar to Photosynthesis, but then for the rest of the game it's completely different because, for example,
everybody has his own
Everybody
plan.
has his own board
That's
this
different.
time. Yes, that's already very different from Photosynthesis. Then the way you select your actions is also very different because in this game you have this deck of cards. You create a drafting pool each round, and then there's always one card more than the number of players. And then starting from the first player, each player takes one card. The color of your card determines the area of your planet where you can perform your action. And there are 4 possible actions, but each one is actually just a different combinations of 2 possible effects, which are planting sprouts or making an existing plant grow to the next step. So a sprout can become a small tree, and a small tree can become a big tree. Okay? So, and the actions are, as I said, just combinations of these 2 things. So the first action is planting 3 sprouts. Second action is making 2 plants grow. Third one is one thing and one planting and one growth. And the last one, you ignore the color of your card and you do just one thing, but you can do it where you want.
And also make a big tree.
Yes.
That one.
Yes. You can
Also
either
if you grow, you can make a big one.
Exactly.
All right. You
exactly.
have to just grow it twice.
It's just a plant goes to the next step.
I see. All right.
Then, in addition to your action, each card also has one of these symbols which matches the symbols of these tracks here above on your board, which are the special powers you can use. Each power comes with one of these markers, and when you use one of those, the first thing you do is you upgrade it. Then you perform this effect as many times as is written in its new position. So every time you use a power, it gets stronger and stronger. And the special powers have simple effects like planting more sprouts, making more sprouts grow into small trees, or small trees into big trees, gaining points. Or some of them are more elaborate. For example, if you can place lakes, and if you place a lake, you can choose up to 2 spaces with the plant that are adjacent to it, and you make those plants grow to the next step. So water helps your trees to grow faster. Then the last power is the planting of bushes. For example, if one of the ways in which you make points in the game is by having large groups of trees that are connected to each other, and we call that a forest. Quite unsurprisingly.
Makes sense.
Yes. At the end of each season, the game lasts several rounds, but after a certain number of rounds, there's the end of a season, and there are 4 seasons in the game. So at the end of each season, you make points for your biggest forest, and by planting a bush, you can connect 2 groups of trees into a bigger forest more quickly than by planting a sprout and then having to make it grow. To do that with a tree, it takes at least 2 actions. And also, if you upgrade your power, you can plant more than 1 bush at a time. So they can help you make bigger forests more quickly. As I was saying, you make points at the end of each season, and one of these is the biggest forest, but the other is sunlight. So in this example here, sun is coming from this direction, and this tree gets light, 1 point because it's small. This tree gets light, 2 points because it's big.
And the sprout doesn't give any point.
The sprout doesn't give any point. The bush doesn't cast any shadow. These all collect light, but if this tree was here, for example, this would be covered from the shadow of this. And big trees also cast longer shadow, so this tree will be in the shadow of this one even this far. But if this big tree is here, since it is taller, it can see the light, so it could get light. So there is a lot of ways the trees can interact with each other. You have to be careful with how you place them and how you make them grow. At the end of the season, after you make the points, like in photosynthesis, the sun moves, and now that's a new season, and the relation, the relation between the positions of the trees is different. Now this tree will be blocking the sun for this one. So you have to think, when you place trees, you have to think that the position may be good now, but it may not be good in next season. So maybe you try some different things.
When do you get points for the bigger forest?
At the end of the season. You both score them at the end of the season, each season. So you score them 4 times. If you look at the board, you can also see that each season lasts a decreasing number of rounds. So you have less and less time before each scoring happens, but also your powers get stronger and stronger, so you can compensate for that time pressure by being more efficient with your actions. At the end of the 4th season, there is one additional way to score points, which is determined by the cards that were not chosen during the game, because as I said before, each round there is 1 card more than the number of players, so 1 card will always be left unchosen. Okay, so let's simulate an endgame situation. If over the various rounds these cards were discarded, this goes here, this goes here. Okay, there should be more cards than this, but just for the sake of explanation.
Majority?
No. The number of icons in this with this color is the number of points that each big tree of in that color is worth. So this big tree in this area would be worth 3 points, but if it was in the yellow, it would be worth 5 points. So this is, you see this fertility zone, we call it, evolved during the game. So the biomes, the colors that were the least chosen at the beginning, start to become the more valuable during the game. So at one point you will start to want those colors, and also sometimes something different may happen, because a card with this symbol may show up.
Skull?
Yes, it's an aridity symbol, and if you take this card, it works just like any other card, so you do your action in the yellow.
If you don't take it.
But if you don't take it, it goes into the fertility zone and flips the topmost card of its pile. So if you have a lot of big trees in the yellow,
to get it, perhaps.
Even maybe this is not the best card for you right now, but maybe you take it nevertheless because it protects your score for the end of the game. On the other hand, if you don't have a lot of trees in there,
you can leave.
maybe you can let it go so that you hurt the score of another player.
I see.
Yeah. So this is basically all of the rules of the game. It's pretty simple in the end, but there's a lot of possible strategies that you can apply and a lot of interactions between the various parts.
It's that nature games at the moment are quite modern in the last years. Is it the same in Italy?
Yes, also because people is starting to get more and more conscious of the challenges that the climate change will bring to the world in the next few years. This is why also for this game we made a partnership with an organization called Trees for the Future, which is one of those companies that plants trees, especially in developing countries, and helps them learn new sustainable ways to create cultivations and make a business out of it, so they can improve their economic condition and also make good for the environment. We made an initial donation when even without knowing how many copies we will be printing of this, and then as we reprint the game, we plan to make more donations to support their endeavors and help the planet, hopefully. Also, we removed plastic as much as possible from the game for the same reason.
All right. Well, thanks for the short introduction or the detailed introduction of the game.
It's a short game to explain, so it was both.
All right.